Okay. So basically, Amazon is providing us this service called EC2. So EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute. So let us get deeper into this, and we'll try to explore what exactly is EC2 and what you can do and what we'll be getting using this EC2. So moving further, okay. So exactly what is Amazon EC2? So that we'll be trying to learn now. So I think from all the our previous classes, we have got a deep discussion of servers, right? So how the server need to be created, what are the components inside the server, and how it is difficult in to maintain this server on premise, and what are all the things involved to manage the server. So these are all the things we have discussed. So basically, we have been telling that Amazon is providing us this server-based services, right? So Amazon is providing this server-related operations or server-related service in the name of Amazon EC2. Okay, so where what you can do is these are all we'll try to explore. Basically, virtual machine. You need to understand what exactly is virtual machine. So, virtual machine, I think you can try to understand from the word virtual. For example, we can just take the example of this class only. Okay, what happening is I'm not sitting along with you in person, right? I'm not in front of you or not physically present in front of you, but still you are able to get my voice, and you are able to share my screen. So what happened is you are getting the exact feeling of a physical presence, right? So even I'm not physically present at your place, but you are getting the feel of the physical presence. Like you are able to hear my voice, and you are able to see my screen. So in the same way, what happens is, so basically from here onwards we'll be calling this as the servers as virtual machines. So what happens is, on premise you'll be maintaining all your physical server, and everything will be maintained by you. That means all the physical components will be present in front of you, right? So when we are getting into the cloud, so what happens is the Amazon is providing us this server related services. So what happens is Amazon will create one virtual server, so where you can use this virtual server and get your things done. Okay, so we can call these machines, that means on premise you call the servers, whereas if it is if your server is present on the internet, or you can say if it is present on any cloud platform, we call them as virtual machines. Okay, so these virtual machines are maintained by Amazon. So wherever it is, even if you are learning in perspective of Azure, we call them as virtual machines. Even if you are working on Google Cloud platform, if you create servers on Google Cloud platform, we call them as virtual machines. So these machines will do actual job as the same like your servers. Okay, so next is this virtual machines we'll try to explore how to create on Amazon, how to use them, how to terminate them, how to attach volumes, how to use IP address, how to access this servers. So this will deep dive into that. And secondary thing is we'll try to explore what are all the purchase options available. And networking part, we'll try to understand what is virtual VPC and what is hybrid. So what is this elastic IP, and what is the load balancer. So the networking part we'll try to understand that. And the user experience, how to access, how to how to create this key pairs, and how to connect in various methods, and how to transfer data between your local computer and pushing it onto server. So how to commit, so how to install some any necessary softwares which are required inside our server. So that we'll try to explore. Okay, so basically one thing is you need to understand, so how exactly is this virtual machines will be created on server. So basically you might have we have a discussion on data centers, right? So data centers is the place where there are huge number of servers connected with each other. So here you can see in the picture what happens is this physical servers in AWS regions. So AWS, in each AWS global regions, one data center will be present. So as you can say, you can just assume this as one data center. So as you can see, these racks have been arranged, and in each rack the servers are kept. So here you can see one, two, three, four, like that. They are arranged in one column, right? So there are multiple columns, so each column is carrying so many servers inside this. So all these individual servers are connected with each other, and such that it will be forming one huge data center. So what happens is, first, for example, I want to create one server on Amazon. Okay, so what I'll do, as I think yesterday while creating our AWS account, we have selected our region, right? So in the top section, you have seen some US East, and we have selected this Asia region. Inside Asia region, we have selected Mumbai, right? So in the same way, what happens is, there are so many data centers on throughout the globe, which are managed by Amazon. So we'll be selecting one data center like this. Okay, so we will be selecting one particular data center. As you know, there are set of total number of servers there. So what happens is, if you ask Amazon to create one server, so what happens is, this whole data center, it will be allocating some portion of it, right? So what happens is, for example, these many servers are there. So for example, one set of portion will be allocated for you to do your operations. So directly what happens is, we can directly say as, it will be sharing some hardware resource from the data center. Okay, so in this particular hardware resource, what are all you are asking for will be installed. So as you can see, this person has taken one single component from this rack. Okay, so this particular rack, they have selected one area, and this area, what he have done is, he has installed one host server, so that will become one host server, this particular area. So inside that host server, he will be installing one hypervisor. Okay, so hypervisor is the place, will be given a platform where you will be able to put your operating system, or put your any service which you want to use. So basically, if you know, if you might be heard about some software called what we say, some virtual machine softwares are available. So maybe VMware is also one of the software which you will be using on your desktop. So for example, I will say, so for example, I'm running this Windows 10 operating system. Okay, so right now I want to use Ubuntu or Linux. So because there is no possibility of running one Linux operating system inside the Windows 10. So what we will do, we will create one, we'll install one software called VMware. So okay, VMware, I think it might be, if you people have not heard about this, so VMware is also one of the software. So what VMware will do is,
So screen,
sorry.
screen
you,
is not
you
sharing. You are not sharing the screen.
okay, okay, I'm not sharing the screen. One second, sorry.
Right.
Okay, okay, just you can check into this VMware. So VMware download, so this is one of the software. So what it will do is, it will help you in virtualizing your hardware resources. If you install this software, what happens is, right now I'm using Windows 10, right? So inside this Windows 10, I will be able to use another operating system, whatever it might be. If you ask for Linux, you can install. If you want to install any other operating system, you can install. So what this software will do is, that the software which we are using here for running this Linux operating system, we call it as one hypervisor software. Okay, so hypervisor software is one technology where we will be putting this sharing the resources virtually. For example, I'm running this Windows 10 operating system. So inside the Windows 10 operating system, I want to share some hardware resources such that I will be able to run one Ubuntu operating system. So if I want to run this Ubuntu operating system on my Windows 10 operating system, I'll be using one software. So what that software will do is it will hypervise my hardware resources, and it will allocate some share some of my resources to the operating system of Ubuntu, such that I will be able to run two or more operating systems. Okay, so in the same way, these are all applicable for our uh, cloud concept also. So there will be one data center. So in the data center, we'll use one hypervisor software, such that in this particular hypervisor software, the user will be able to install any of the software or any of the requirement which he want to install. Okay, so as you can see here, one what I have done is we have allocated one host server. On this host server, we have installed hypervisor. So inside the hypervisor, what you can do is you can either install Ubuntu, or you can install Windows 10 or any other operating system which you want to install. So this is the structure you need to understand. Then forget about the structure. Like for example, you can say, sir, a data center is there. What a hardware, what is the operating system which will be running on this data center, and how this data center will be creating one host server. So these are all server technologies which we need not to try to get deeper into it, because that's the what we can say is that's the responsibility, or that's the job which has been kept privately by Amazon. Just we need to understand that there will be one data center. We will be sharing the data center's hardware resources. Okay, we'll take that hardware resources and we'll use one hypervisor software. So inside that hypervisor software, we'll be putting our operating system to run. That's it. Okay, for example, you can take this 100%, and from this 100%, you'll be taking one part. Okay, one part you will take, and one part you will be putting your host. You'll be creating one host server. You'll be putting one hypervisor, and you'll be running your operating system. That's it. Okay, so getting into this, how this has been started, I think I don't we don't think this is necessary for us. So it has been started 9 years ago, and previously they used to supply only Linux as the operating system. Now they are giving us wide options of Windows, Amazon, OpenSUSE, and maybe Red Hat. There are so many options available for us. So previously they used to be given on demand, but right now it is available instantly. So since then, what I have done, so one thing is you need to understand these important things. So these are all the services which you will be able to do with your servers. So first thing, I think you got little familiar. They will be allocating one CPU, GPU, memory, and storage to your operating system. This you can alter according to your requirement. Like yesterday we have seen, if you want to take one CPU, you can take two CPU, 64 CPU you can take up to 64. So memory, if you want to select 1 GB, 2 GB, 16, 13, like that you can select. And storage, you can select HDD or EBS volume, or you can select for HDD. That will go deeper into it now. So deployment options. So where what type of deployment you want to do? You want to use it for websites? You want to deploy databases, or you want to deploy any enterprise applications? According to that, you can do with your servers. So they have done changes in the OS and application management. So they are providing Amazon Elastic block storage, and one thing is they are providing elastic IP addresses. So elastic IP addresses, I think you can remember in very simple way. So what happens is, on the internet, everything will be working on some IP address. So as you can see, whatever it is, if it is a website, or if it is anything anything which is working on the internet, for example, facebook.com. So facebook.com will be one website. As you can see only, uh, you can see only the domain name. So basically this we call it as domain name, facebook.com. It stands for domain name, but actually everything is a number. Okay, so what happens is, this Facebook, for example, Facebook, I'll say IP address. So basically, the Facebook website is running on this particular IP address. So that means this is the IP address of the Facebook server. But actually, what you're saying, you are able to see this Facebook.com, right? So basically, what happens is, this particular IP address will be mapped to your domain name. So that means, because people won't remember this, right? If I say facebook.com, it is very simple for you to access. If I say 66.220.144.0, that means nobody will be able to understand, right? So for that purpose, what they will do is, they will map this particular IP address to this name, such that it will become convenient for people to understand. So similarly, when coming across this elastic IP address, so what happens is, so as you can see, there is one simple concept. This whatever server we are creating are connected to the internet. Okay, if you want to connect to the internet, each server will be given one, assigned one particular IP address. Okay, so with this IP address, our server will be able to connect to the internet. So what happens with this, what happens is, whenever your server restarts, again what you need to do, if you have done a restart to your server, again your server need to start, and again it need to connect to the internet. As you know that IP address is the one which will be connecting your server to the internet. So the problem is, whenever your computer or whenever your server restarts, the IP address will be changing. So that means, for example, you can take, so this is the IP address 66.220.144.0. Okay, so when the server restarts, this particular number will change. So we this will be assigned by the internet. It is not controlled. It is not in control with us. So next time when our server restarts, it might be 64, it might be 60, or it might be 100. So it can't be decided by the user. So what is this elastic IP is, elastic IP will be assigned by the Amazon. So what happens is, if you assign one elastic IP, you will assign one IP address. For example, you will assign this 66.220.144.0. So this will be elastic. So this will be assigned by Amazon. So that means this is fixed. So even if your server restarts, this won't be changing. So that is called as elastic IP address. Okay, so elastic IP address is a paid service because they need to hold this IP address for you. For that reason, they will be charging some amount. Okay, this is not a free service. So basically, I think you are able to understand, whenever your server restart, the IP address of your server will change. So for that reason, we will go for elastic IP. So what is the difference between normal IP address and elastic IP address is, normal IP address will be changing whenever your server restarts, whereas elastic IP, the IP address will not be changing. So that is the difference. So Amazon virtual private cloud, this also we will be able to create. So whenever we are creating multiple number of servers, if you want to create a private, if you are working on multiple projects, so what you need to do is, some projects, in some cases will be running multiple projects from one individual server. So what happens is, in case of VPC, we can create one separate cloud formation, or we can take a separate group of servers, which we can call it as virtual private cloud, which will be used exclusively for one single project, or one exclusively for one private project. So auto scaling is an option one given, provided by AWS. So this all have been added. So previously, when they have started, they used to give providers only servers. So with the change in technology and requirements from the user, they have all provided giving you these services. So they started providing this IP addresses, elastic IP addresses. They have started helping you to create VPCs. So similarly, auto scaling is of also a feature which has been given by Amazon. That means whenever there is increase in the number of traffic from the users. So what happens is Amazon is providing an auto scaling option where your server will handle the traffic by itself. That means you need not add or delete any servers by yourself. So Amazon has programmed it in such a way that even there is increase in the traffic, automatically the server will set the traffic according to the coming traffic. So that means all the traffic will be handled by Amazon by itself. So you need not sit and worry about the traffic and worry about the analytics, nothing like that. So everything is automated. Even if the server is getting 10,000 users, the it will handle. Even if the traffic suddenly rises to 1 lakh people, so automatically Amazon will provide the sufficient resources to handle 1 lakh people. So this is auto scaling feature which Amazon is providing. And one more thing is elastic load balancing. This is also one of the important concept in EC2. So what happens is elastic load balancing simply we can say is, for example, we can take this example of IPL. Okay, so in IPL, as you can see, every day when the match is coming live, so what happens is at least 80 lakhs or 1 crore or 1.2 crore people will be watching at the same time. So what happens is when you are handling such huge crowd, for example, let us take, we are handling around 1 crore people at the same time. So what happens is several set of for example, I will say we are allocating some thousand servers to handle this traffic. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to efficiently use this thousand servers from your side. It doesn't mean that only 500 servers are taking the full traffic, and remaining 100 servers, they are not taking the server, not taking the traffic, or it is having free resources. Or else we can say that okay, 500 servers are working on full strength, whereas other 500 servers are working with only 50% strength. Some of the servers are working with 25% of strength. That means it has around 75% of free resources, whereas some other servers they are working on 100% utilization. No, so what happens is you can install one elastic load balancer. So what happens is this elastic load balancer will uniformly distribute the traffic to everyone, right? It doesn't mean that only one server should take all the traffic and some other traffic will be sitting idle. No. So when you install this elastic load balancer, so this elastic load balancer will take the responsibility of uniformly distributing the traffic among your servers. Okay, such that there will be the load will be taken firmly between by your server. Okay, so the distribution part of the traffic will be handled by elastic load balancer. So similarly, they have improved lot of performance, security, manageability, and scalability improvements. So previously, adding a server and removing a server used to be a what time-taking job. So now what has happened is the scalability of this thing. Whenever adding the number of servers or removing the number of servers, so there were so many practical difficulties previously they used to be there. I think last time we have discussed about this Flipkart updating their website every single day. So now we can. What happens is now you can manage all these things within just couple of minutes. But previously that job was very typical. So that they have improved and helped us to improve this. And next is this Amazon ECS. So this will be coming under this container services. So what happens is to handle these containers, we can say that I think this is very big topic. So you can just simply remember that ECS is Elastic Container Service. to manage your containers. So what are these containers we'll be learning in the further classes. Similarly, Lambda also. So Amazon machine learning also they have included in this EC2. Such that what I have done is, so it is not that only this EC2 service has started just an year ago or 2 years ago. So it's been almost running from more than 10 years. So throughout this 10 years of their service, they have included so many services to make this as a better product. So the development part has been a continuous process such that to make this EC2 service as more efficient one. Okay, so we need to remember like what are all the services, what are all we can do using this EC2. You need to explain all these things. So you can say OS and installation support. You can provide choices for hardware, elastic block storage, elastic IP address, Amazon VPC, auto scaling, elastic load balancing. You can say Amazon ECS, Amazon machine learning. So these are all the things which will be falling under your Amazon EC2. Okay, so whenever someone is asking about Amazon EC2, so we need to explain at least 2 to 3 points from this, such that the other person can understand that okay, you have learned something on Amazon EC2, right? So coming to the next, so what happened? I think yesterday also we have seen this. So what they're doing is Amazon instances. How many types of Amazon instances are available for you? So they have categorized according to families and generations. Okay. So micro means you can be. This is very low level servers which with very minimal hardware configuration. Similarly, GPU type, IO optimized type, one is a dense storage type, one is a memory optimizer type, one is compute optimizer type, and then one next is general purpose type. So this you can create your server according to your requirement. Okay. So micro will be used for very small operations, small server resources. GPU, I think it will be used for mostly for the gaming things. So IO optimized maybe for the Internet of Things will be used. Storage will be more focusing more on storage. So memory optimized will be focusing more on this RAM related thing, and compute will be related more to the processor thing. Similarly, with general purpose, it is a combination of multiple things. Okay, so that means have a balanced combination between CPU, memory, and storage. Okay, so as you can see, if you want to remember, so it general purpose servers will be starting with M1. Okay, similarly, micro, so small. Servers will be starting from T1. So you need to remember that all the servers will be starting with this particular alphabet character. So mostly in our classes we'll be working on this micro servers, very small servers we'll be working on. So we'll be working on micro servers. So as you can remember, it will be starting with T1 and T2. Okay, so we need to remember this T1 and T2. So as you can see, these instances will be called using this thing, using this naming structure. So as you can see, instance family. So just now I think we had the discussion like we'll be working on micro. So micro will be starting with T1 and T2. So what we can say is, so in first each instance will be given the instance family name. So we, as I told, we'll be working on micro. T1 or T2 will be there. Okay. So similarly here followed by large. So here you can see X large, double X large, mid, like that. So that will be the instance size. Okay. So this I think while working you'll get more familiar. So will be simply that each instance will be having this naming notation. One is what starts with instance family followed by the instance size. So why do customers use Amazon EC2? So what is the reason and why should we use Amazon EC2? So here I think mostly they are covering again this our cloud computing concepts. So why I can get into this EC2, and also this is very very important question while attending your interview. So the interviewer might be asking, why should I use this Amazon? Why should I not maintain this on premise, or why should I use Google Cloud Platform, or why should I use this Azure instead of AWS? So that time you need to frame your answer properly. So first thing is, first why customers are getting into this AWS is, first thing is fast deployment. So the deployment time, that means if you want to create one server and install one server, it will take just a couple of minutes. So that means it is very very fast. So similarly, Amazon is providing, as you can see, what happens is, any organization, if you want to build any server or create a server, there are so many parameters to take the decisions, like which is the correct one, which will be the correct server for my requirement. For simple thing, I'll tell you, if you guys are trying to buy a laptop, you will do a lot of research, right? So how much memory I should go for, what is a processor I need to go for, if I want to play more games, so which one I should take. So similarly, when you are buying one mobile phone, so you'll be looking after so many models and so many options, right? So similarly, what happens is, whenever you are buying a server from the cloud service provider, so you need to check a lot of things. So what happens is, Amazon is providing you the so many wide varieties of options. So basically, we can simply say these are all the different models which Amazon is providing. So they have categorized everything. So as you can see, general purpose, common combination of all the hardware resources. If you are focused on more computing part, so they are giving separate models. Similarly, memory optimized. So there is a wide option for you to take the decision. So that is why where this cost factor will be coming. So as you can see, this everything is properly organized. You can, and also the pricing factor is transparent. I think yesterday we have just checked this AWS calculator. So prior hand only, you'll be able to check the prices. You can, while building a server, you can check you can put your requirement, and you can check you can check the pricing for M1. Similarly, you can do modifications, and you can check for M2, like that. So everything is transparent, and the pricing factor is transparent, and also you can check. So according to that, you can reduce your price. Okay, so and one thing is elastic. So whenever you want to include, you can include. Whenever you want to remove, you can remove the servers. So global accessible, as you know that Amazon is providing this AWS services throughout the globe, and Amazon is providing through all the regions on the globe, and also they are having huge number of data centers around the globe. So these are all the one of the important factors which we need to consider. Okay. So second one is secure. The most very much important concept on this cloud computing is security, because as you know, you are putting up so much information onto the cloud, so that the information need to be secured, and it need to be placed on a secure place. So you just get into this. What we say, main security is the most important in any cloud service provider. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you're putting this all your information on cloud. It doesn't mean that it need to get hacked by someone. So it need to be provided with utmost security, so which this AWS is providing. So scalable, access effectively according to the need. So almost it is like similar to this elastic service only, so where you can add or remove whenever it is necessary. So elasticity. So I think this one picture, it will be it should clear most of your doubts. So just this will make you understand the main concept of servers. So as you can see, this is one of the maybe some graph analytics which I have received from the server. So as you can see, this is a time period from time period between we can, if we time period of 1 day. So there are 24 hours. As you can see, the server load It is not stagnant. It is changing periodically according to the time. As you can see here, in the initial phase it is very less, and in the midday it has reached the peak point. So basically, as the day is passing by, and the server's load is getting reduced. So as you can see, reduced, and maybe by the end of the day it has fallen to the very very minimal level. Okay, so see how you can handle this particular situation. So as you can see, there is some peak time. So we can say this as the peak time. So initial stage it is very less. So and also maybe of the post half day, the reach is less. So how to handle this? So here you can see, so you can segregate this into two servers. Like, okay, you can handle this particular thing on by using two servers. So as you can see, they have segregated, so have they have taken one midpoint. So what happened is, so here this below the line will be handled by one server, and above the line it will be handled by one server. So we'll see how it works, exactly works. Okay, so totally what they have done is, first they have estimated the capacity, like how much capacity do you require. So this is the peak capacity. Like, so for this peak capacity uh, they have just analyzed the peak capacity of the server. So that to understand how much resources they need to handle the traffic. So maybe this is like the peak one is, for example, 1 lakh users. So the maximum where they can reach is 1 lakh servers, maybe at the peak of the day. So up to, so average assumption is that the our website or this application will be needing some 1 lakh. 1 lakh users will be coming to the server. So as you know that this 1 lakh people is not all the fixed time. So it will be varying according to the time. So what have done is, see, as you can see here, so as we just told that they have segregated this. So one server will be running for 8 hours. As you can see, the traffic is very very less. So up to this, for the first 8 hours the person is using only one single server. So after this 8 hours the demand is increasing. So that means you need to have additional capacity. So what the person is doing, so he has so only, as you can see here, if we are continuing to use the same one server, so I will not be able to handle the 1 lakh capacity users, because one server is hardly can be able to maintain only 50,000 users. So what about this rest remaining 50,000 of load, right? So as we know that one server cannot handle the 1 lakh users. So one server capacity is only 50,000 users. So as you can see, this server will not be sufficient to manage the traffic. So at that time what you will do is, so this peak hour, maybe for the another 8 hours, I will be renting another server, right? As you can see, first 8 hours I'll be running only one server, and the next 8 hours I'm running two servers. Why? Because I have more number of traffic. Okay, so to handle that more traffic I'll be using two servers. Okay, so then after, as you can see, the graph is declining, that means coming down after 16 hours. Automatically I have seen that drastically the load is coming down. So here, as you can see, we have reached some point where I need not run two servers, right? So I can remove my server, so I can manage my job only by using one single server, right? So for that reason what I'll do, so I'll remove this extra server. So and I'll be trying to run with only one single server, right? I think this should make you clearly understand how we'll be able to manage the server, and how we need to plan the servers according to the requirement. So why we are doing this? So why we are struggling to do these many things, and why is the need of this planning? Why? Because as you know, this we are paying our servers according to the number of hours. If we are using one server for 8 hours, we need to pay only for the 8 hours of server. If I'm consistently running these two servers for 24 hours, that means you will be paying some extra amount. Okay, so this is how we'll be saving on our servers. As you can see, so first 8 hours of the day and the last 8 hours of the day, we are trying to manage our traffic by only using one single server. That means this is nothing but saving for your organizations. If I don't properly plan it, and if I don't identify the need, or don't identify the traffic, then blindly what we will do, we'll be running two servers throughout the 24 hours day cycle. So that means what happens is, you'll be paying this extra amount. If you plan accordingly, then you can do this saving part. Okay, so that is I think this is one clear way of understanding the server, and the best example which you can provide when you are attending some interview also. Okay, I think this example will work you in so many places. I think you can just keep this in mind and try to portray the same example in any other cases also. Okay. So similarly, we are saying auto scaling concept. I think we have discussed this. So this one VPC will be using this when you want a private cloud, and auto scaling is the option which they are giving us. Amazon is has built that particular concept, and they are providing you. Similarly, elastic load balancer, which we have just discussed. So the dynamic traffic distribution will be done by this load balancer. Okay, load balancer is the thing which we create, and this load balancer will uniformly distribute the traffic among our instances. Okay. So one thing is, we are saying that we are creating one server, and we are putting it on AWS cloud. So does it means it is 100% same as we are using in our on-premise? So they are saying that it is totally complete. That means we can simply say that it is equivalent to maintaining your servers on premises, and it is also equal to the server putting on the AWS. That means all the things, or what are all the activities, or what are all the events, or what are all the services you get when you maintain it on premise, will also be the same even when you're putting it onto the cloud. So you have total control. You have total control of your instances. So even you can use this Windows operating system or Linux operating system while putting it on the cloud. So whichever operating system you want to install on your server, you can do that. Install any software you need. So any third party software, for example, if you want to install SQL, you can do that. If you want to install Apache, you can do that. Any other packages or any other software which you want to install, like it's like same things, like whatever applications you want to install on your server can be done. There will be no difference. So similarly, start, stop, control instances with consoles or APIs. So whenever you want to start an server, you can do. Whenever you want to stop, you can do. I think you can take the same example. So similarly, what I have done is, we have created two servers, but what happening is, you are not running the two servers all the time. So first 8 hours you'll be stopping the second server, and after 8 hours you'll be starting your both servers, and after 16 hours you're stopping one server. So what is the main thing to understand is, whenever you want to start your server, or whenever you want to stop your server, the total control will be in your hands. Okay, so make the configuration changes as you like. I think you have seen they are providing us so many types of hardware configurations, so that you can do. So create an Amazon machine image. You can, it's like similar to your backup. So whenever you want to use some backups also, you can use. So that means you can duplicate the instance. For example, you have configured one computer totally, so that means you have installed all your softwares, you have hosted your websites, and you are installed on your all your database softwares and all the required software. So what you can do is, simply you can replicate the image. Okay, so the same image you can replicate, and you can create any number of copies you want to create. If you have just configured one single computer, and the same configuration can be replicated. Okay, so that means you need not go and configure each computer at each time. No, you just configure one computer and just replicate it. How many number of replications you want, you can do. Okay, if you want 100 duplicates of that, you can create duplicates. So use automation, create and configure entire stack. Okay, automatically you can do, as I think last time when we are discussing on this services, there is a concept called cloud, Amazon cloud. So there we can do this automation part, that we can do in practical. Okay, so multiple instances, choose the instance that types. I think we have discussed this. Choose the instance type that suits you. We have done. Change the instance type which you want to attach as much as little storage as you need. This is one important point which you need to keep in mind. So for example, while creating your for example, for when you are buying one laptop, if you are having a laptop is having some around 1000 GB of storage, 1 terabyte of storage. So as you know that you will be not be using 1 terabyte storage at once. Hardly you will be using around 200 to 300 of GB, and mostly all the time at least some 500 GB of storage will be left free. As you can see, we are working on cloud. So in cloud, it will not apply the same. So we will be starting with very minimal storage. For example, while creating one instance, so we'll be creating hardly 20 or 30 GB of storage once. So why? Because at a point, if you create one storage of 1000 terabytes, so these sorry 1 terabyte, Amazon will be charging you for 1 terabyte all the time. So similarly, so you can to reduce the cost. First, what will you do is you will be creating one instance with hardly 20 GB or 30 GB of storage. That means they will be charging you only for 30 GB. Similarly, when this 30 GB of storage gets filled up, so then you will be extending your storage. That means what you will do is you will add one more storage for another 30 or 50 GB. So again, what you will do, you will be adding up the data in your remaining storage. So even now this 100 GB got filled up. Then again you will be putting up another adding up storage. So in that way you will be increasing in terms of cloud. Okay, so instantly you won't buy 1 terabyte of storage on any cloud platform. So gradually you will be increasing your storage according to your requirements. Okay, that you need to keep in mind. So choose your operating system, choose your pre-configured image. If you are having any configured images, you can just create an image and keep, so that you can replicate for the coming instances. Reliability. So easily build highly available applications. So ELB distributes load, elastic load balancer. It will be helping you to distribute your load. So auto scaling options, I think we have discussed. Use multiple availability zones. So as you can see, I think use multiple global regions. So while creating your instances, what you can do is, as like we have seen, there are so many regions. So what happens is you can create, for example, if you are running some Facebook website. So what happens is Facebook is running globally, right? So what you can do is you can create different servers at different regions. Okay, for example, Facebook is running on 100 servers. So what you can do is you can allocate some 10 servers to Indian region. As you can see, Asia specific region, you can put 10 servers. Similarly, you can add some 10 servers on this US region, whereas in 10 another 10 servers in Australian region, some 10 servers in Chinese region. So like that, you can put your website working on multiple regions, such that it will be easily accessible to the local users over that region. The same website will be running from multiple zones. So that also will be helpful. And security, and this is the most important thing of any cloud provider. So So Amazon is providing you top security, so secured premises, secured access, built-in firewalls, and they're putting unique users, multi-factor authentication, private subnet, encrypted data storage, and dedicated connection. So basically, you might have never heard like any cloud got hacked, right? So because whenever a cloud network provider gets hacked, it will completely lose its reputation, and they will be losing this very, we can say simply, some $1 billion business. So first priority they will be putting on is for security. So that is the reason. So this cloud service provider, they never get cracked. Okay. So cost effectiveness, so this I think we have discussed. So according to your need, you will be segregating. Okay. So it's easy to get started. So we shall get into the practical part, and we'll try to understand it better. Okay, to start they are saying like we need one Amazon account which we have created. So getting back, so we'll do this. We'll just create one server today, and we'll try to explore the server. Okay. So basically, here we can call it also instance. Okay. So I think we need to log in from console. So console AWS. So AWS management console. Okay. So click on sign in to the console. So as you know, we are having this root user account. I'll be selecting root user, and click on next. So here you need to provide the password, sign into your account. So it was working till yesterday. What happened? Your account has been suspended because your account details couldn't be verified. Okay. So do you have any other account? Okay, guys, I think we shall take some break. So I think just I'll check out what happened with the account. Okay. So we'll take some 5 minutes of break, and we'll just come back. Okay.